We're going to go over using the Dungeon Gallows by us and Neil V1. I want to thank Tate, I think that's how you say it. I'm terrible. Username right here. for giving us this lovely image to use. It was a very cool render, so thank you. Anyways, we're going to go over how to best use the dungeon and how everything kind of works and functions. I'm going to be doing this video in Poser Pro 2012. If anybody would like to see the same thing gone over in Daz Studio, just let me know. For the most part, though, everything should be reasonably similar. It's only going to be where you find the items in the application that's going to be a little bit different, obviously. If I sound all stuttery during the video, I apologize. I really, really hate recording my voice. I don't know what it is. I'm a talker too. Yap, yap, yap. But I do not like recording. So if I make a complete fool out of myself, try to forgive me that. Also, pre-warning you, if I keep calling it a guillotine instead of a gallows, just ignore me. I don't know why I keep getting the two confused, but I do. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started here. First thing we're going to do is go to figures, and if you're using Daz Studio, it's either going to be in, I think, Poser Runtime and then figures, or just within Daz Studio and Runtime. You see why I don't do this in Daz Studio? Because I'm really kind of Daz Studio dense. That's what I'm calling it for today. Anyway, in Poser, or in Daz Studio, it's going to be relatively same general area. Your folders are not going to exactly look like this. I have a tendency to kind of organize things by merchant, because that's just the easiest way for me to find things. And then if I ever want to know who made this or that, it's easier for me to tell. But so you are not going to see an art collab folder like this one here. Instead, you are most likely going to see an art_dungeon folder like this, or whatever else you may have called it, or wherever else you may have moved it, but the default install location is just figures and then art_dungeon. If you have all the dungeon packs, then you're going to see all this stuff here like I do. If you don't have those and you say only got the gallows, then you may only see just this. And a double click to load it up, and we're going to give it a second here to load. Da, 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 da. We're going to move back so we can see what we're doing. A few features of the gallows that you might want to know are there, just in case. First being, here, we're going to min some. All of these little trapdoors function. If you want to open or close any of them, well, right now they're closed, so if you wanted to open them, you just click on the trapdoor, and then you're going to come over here to where it says trap release, and as I dial that in, you're going to see that open. And it's got a limit, so you can't open it too far. It goes to exactly where it's supposed to be. Also of worth mentioning, if we move this over this way, this lever right here equally has the same function, and the dial for that is called lever pull. So if we dial that, you're going to see that you can pull the lever. So if for some reason you wanted to animate that sort of thing, you can. Now let's move to what the nooses can and can't do. You'll notice there are other gallows on the market, and the biggest problem is these nooses are a real pain in the patootie. I did put morphs in and stuff to try as best I could to get them to function well. They should do fairly decent for most circumstances. The morphs are going to be under morph, and then full and noose. So there's some different morphs going. And if you look, you're going to see like hang 1, hang 2. Now the reason they're in here like that, 1, 2, 3, 4, is so if you actually use the noose on 4 different people, like going all the way across all 4 nooses, so the nooses don't all look the same in your render, because then it looks less realistic. So I try to make it so there's some variety there. You'll notice that the nooses don't exactly bend and move fantabulously. That comes down to poly count. Just to explain, in order for them to move real fluently, we would have had to put a real ton of poly in them because of the shape, and we tried to keep kind of poly count and processing power versus the nooses need to move kind of in a balance. So they can move a little clunky, and that's why. Also of note, if we back up here a little bit, the nooses can, like, oops, don't want to go that way. They can swing forward and back, and they can twist some. I did not lock down these dials in case you wanted to do something creative with them. But you can kind of move them around here some. For the most part, though, you actually want to leave them pretty much where they're at. All the morphs pretty much handle any movement that you would need. But if you would need to, like, say you wanted to actually pull one down and have it down on the ground someplace, technically you could do that. You can move it around wherever you want. Also of note, if you don't want all of the nooses up here, say I don't want 4 for whatever reason, you can click on a noose and just hit delete. And now that noose is gone. You could do the same at this end and just have this have 2 people. Or however many. So you can have either empty ones sitting here, or like they never got hung up at all. The hang morphs over here are not actually for when the person is hanging. They're more used for when they're waiting to be hung. When you want to actually hang the person, like have the door open, have them kind of laying, well, hanging their limp, what you want to do is actually leave the noose in this position. To get Vicky and Michael and whoever you want to put up there into place, I'm going to go ahead and load V4 here. And we're going to give it a minute. She should appear right there. Now you'll notice she is way down there. And that's not helpful, unless she's trying to hide out, which I guess she could under there. I did include some go-to poses. They're going to be in pose, art_dungeon, and then you're going to see something that says Genesis V4, go to guillotine platform, or gallows. See, I did it already. Guillotine. Go to gallows platform, and then M4, go to gallows platform. V4 and any of her related figures like Aiko, Stephanie Petite, you'll use the Genesis V4 one. Any of M4's related bits like David or the Freak, you're going to use the M4 one. But all you're going to do is make sure that you have her selected, and then double click the go to, and she's going to pop right up here for you. And then from there, it is just a matter of positioning her. which usually I would select like body, do X translate until you get her to where her neck is kind of right in there, like right in between the two sides. And then you want to spin around to the side and then move her by Z and click on the gallows and then pick one of the hangs. So in this case I'm going to pick hang 1. And if you look, it's pretty reasonably going to be on there. The only thing I need to do is pretty much go back to her on body and move her back a little tiny more. And that's pretty much all there is to this part. Now you'll notice the noose is a little bit loose on the sides here. If you want to get that kind of tighter, you can click on the noose and go to the noose morphs down here. And in this case we're going to close full and go to noose. And there is a tighten that will make it tighter around her neck. And there's also a loosen right and a loosen left that if you go in the negative will also pull the sides in for you. If you don't want them to be waiting, but rather actually hung, then the first thing you want to do is click on the trap door and use the trap release dial that I mentioned. You want to click on the noose and make sure that you don't have any of the hanging stuff on. So we're going to reset that to straight. You're going to click on Vicky's body and you're going to move her back again and then drop her down to right in there-ish. And then it's kind of a matter of fiddling. I did have like a noose tighten morph that made this a lot easier, but it was kind of acting up with some of the other morphs and it was pulling the noose apart, and again came down to the poly issue, and it just seemed a wiser idea to drop it. I have a thing, if I can't get something perfect or as good as I think I can kind of get it, I just rather not even include it because I don't want people to have a mess. But from here, most of the posing is going to be with her. So you're going to kind of bend her neck forward. And then once you have that, probably even more, a little more, and then bend her head forward. She didn't make it. And then you're going to pick her body, and then you're going to kind of move her Z to get her back into place. And then to make it so it doesn't seem real loose, move her up on Y some more. And then you're going to work with kind of the loose, the loose in front and the negative, which is going to bring the front of the noose kind of up. And then you can also use the morph right here that says lower to pull it up a little to get it a little better in place. She probably needs moved up a touch more. Back to the noose. swing forward a little tiny bit. I think her head might be bent a little too much. I can't see. Fairly close. Now it's just a matter of moving her and kind of getting her in the perfect spot. I did talk with a friend that does poses, and she does really, really nice poses, about possibly doing a pose thing for this, which should make it even easier. I would have included a bunch of poses with it, but trust me when I tell you, you do not want poses I make. I buy mine because, honestly, as you're going to be able to tell real soon here, I suck at posing. We all have our things we're good at, and then we have some we're not. That falls under not so much for me. Every time I've ever included poses in a pack, I do a whole lot of hair pulling and a whole lot of crying. It's kind of sad. But once you get to about here, you've got it on there good. Then it's just a matter of getting it tight around her neck, which, as we already discussed, we kind of have morphs for that. And that's about it. Feel free to use my settings if they're helpful. These probably aren't perfect, but it's pretty close. Probably tighten up this right side a little bit. We're going to loosen that up a little bit more. And we're going to go for lower in the negative to bring it up a little. And that's about it. I mean, she's pretty well hung at this point. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. And then it's just a matter of, you know, dropping the shoulders down, dropping the arm down, trying to get her to look like she went limp, which means getting this a little straighter and this a little more perfectly straight. Her fingers would need to be done kind of more loose and straighter and kind of more limp, so they wouldn't be kind of positioned more grippy like they are right now. You also want to bend the feet down. And then once you get everything kind of maneuvered the way you want it to be, you can work on one side, and then if you're in poser, you can go to figure, symmetry, and then in this case we're going to do right to left. I'm going to click no here, and then you're just basically going to close her eyes, and that would be about it for being hung. She looks a little weird with the eyes hanging open like that. I have actually tested this with the Freak and with Ico, and they all fit. So if you can get those two in here, you could probably get just about anything in here. That is about it for how to use this. I hope that you found this useful. If you have any questions whatsoever about the gallows or about the dungeon or the dungeon props, please feel free to contact me. I am always more than happy to help in any way that I possibly can. And I'm usually fairly quick about getting back to people, like within 24 hours or less. Usually within a couple hours, because I have no life and I'm chained to my computer. If you'd like to get a hold of me, you can contact me at Ann, ANN, 0314 at art, ART dash collab, COLLAB.com. So it's Ann0314 at art-collab.com. Don't put in all those letters I just spelled out. That was just making sure you could understand my rambling. Other than that, I hope that you enjoy your purchase and you get a lot of use out of this and you have a lot of fun. At this point, all you really need to do is maybe put some clothes on her might be good. Unless you're going to hang her in her bra and underwear, you could do that too. But just put some clothes on, put a background scene or whatever, just like our friend did here. You notice I avoided saying his name again so I didn't mess it up. But and what you get is something like this, which he did a really nice job. See, he obviously posed way better than we did. Or than I did, rather. I can't speak for my husband. He's not here at the moment. But this is the end of the Using the Dungeon Gallows video. And again, thank you so much for purchasing the product. And we hope you enjoy it and have a really great day. Thanks. Bye.